Many SME leaders end up doing some work at odd hours or on the weekend, navigating around their other commitments. But would you be brave enough to empower more of your employees to work when they want? We discussed this as a potential out-of-the-box recruitment and retention strategy during a recent live stream and wanted to allow our broader audience to listen in on the conversation.
No, absolutely. And really this flexi leave probably feeds into the next concept that I've been recently really thinking about for employers, and this notion of what I call WWW, or work when you want. And this is a concept probably more for white collar roles, I would say, but it's the idea that, for a 38-hour week, it can be worked, in the right circumstances. There might be some controls over when some of the hours need to be worked, but it basically can be worked whenever. So effectively, a person can, do a few hours in the morning, do a few hours in the day, do a few hours at night, do a few hours on the weekend, as they please. And this idea of kind of work when you want. And again, this is probably flexibility on steroids. And look, it is probably something that, you may not implement straight away for an employee. It might be subject to, the probationary period being completed or something like that, so that person, you're confident, can work independently and in a way that's going to be efficient and effective. I mean, this is not necessarily for everyone, but, certainly there's people that have got commitments with kids playing sports and, pickups from school and things like that. And rather than trying to make everything just Monday to Friday and trying to, force people into a 9 to 5 kind of scenario, the concept of, work when you want, some people will say, oh, well, this is just, it's just throwing caution to the wind and people are just going to, abuse a system like this. Well, in actual fact, when you force people to 9 to 5, and when they've got commitments in there and they've got some of those days, potentially working from home, well, then really all you end up doing is missing out on, you're missing out on work time. So by having this idea of work when you want, well, really the person kind of almost has a degree of ownership to actually, complete what they need to do, whether it be at night, early in the morning, on a Saturday, on a Sunday, whatever that may be. And look, I know myself, and I don't know if I'm the exception or the norm here, but my energy flow, I'll work according to my energy flow, and some days that'll be 10 hours, some days that'll be 5, and sometimes that'll mean working on Saturday, working on a Sunday, things like that. But I would say that keeping still within a reasonable total of weekly hours, that's not working excessively or anything like that. So I think that, look, this work when you want concept, I think if for a person who's independent and who's, subject to a completion of a probationary period, this is something also that organizations can really embrace and, again, market when they're recruiting, because, it's very easy to say the hours will be 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, but hey, we've got flexibility. But what does that mean? Anyone really can say that. I think this idea of you can say you can work when you want, there might be a catch or two. You must work 4 hours between this and this because we've got customers who answer this time. Embracing concepts like this, I think, will actually improve the opportunity for recruitment and retention. And look, there'll be people that will say, oh, yeah, but this is just going to be open slather and people are not going to be effective working this way. Well, frankly, if you're not seeing the results and if you're not seeing the outputs, well, you've probably got the wrong person in the first place. And that's regardless of whether they're forced into a 9 to 5 scenario. Would a person work any better in a forced 9 to 5 scenario? And my argument would be that they wouldn't. So I think you either embrace this as a concept or you don't. And I think ultimately you're either hiring the right people for your organization or you aren't. And if you've got these sort of things on the table, you might be a better chance of actually attracting some slightly better candidates.
I have a question for you that came to mind.
Sure.
So if you were implementing this within an organization, do you feel that this could be done on an individual or a team-based level? The reason why I asked the question, sorry, I don't mean to sort of load you up, is the thought that was going through my brain is why this works so well, I feel, at on-demand HR is because sometimes you mentioned working to your energy levels, And I know, I do the same thing, but sometimes our energy levels clash. So, when you're switched on at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, I'm dead tired because I've been at work since 5 o'clock in the morning, because that's when my energy levels match. So, but, I know that when you send me a message or ask me something or need something from me, I need to be able to respond to that when required. And from a team perspective, I think it might create a few challenges whereby if everyone, that was my work when I wasn't working at that particular time, but I respond to you at 7 o'clock at night when I need an answer at, 10 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? So can it be done at an individual level, or should it be done as a team level, like i.e. the accounts department or whatever it may be?
Yeah, look, it's a great question, and I don't know that I have a simple answer for you either on this. I think you've really got to consider a few factors. I think you've got to consider whether or not the person needs to respond to customers or clients during a particular period of the day or the week. That's probably the first consideration. The second consideration is, if the work is creative in nature, or is it work that has to be done during a particular set of hours, or is it work that can be done after hours? I think these are all the sort of factors that need to be thought about. I think that there's enough. I think as long as you have enough collaboration overlap, I think it's very plausible. I mean, I think that we have within On-Demand HR, I think we have quite a lot of collaboration overlap. So we do have a lot of hours that do overlap. And inevitably, look, the reality is that a good chunk of those hours are going to be work Monday to Friday. There's no doubt about that, because that's just when kids go to school. That's just when society expects people to be responsive. That's when customers are working and things like that. But ultimately, and that's where you're probably going to get a lot of your collaboration overlap. Where you might not get as much collaboration overlap is later at night, earlier in the morning, weekends, that sort of stuff. And I think that's okay. I mean, really, you're probably not doing your time urgent work at that time anyway. You're probably doing some of those more creative tasks, some of those tasks that didn't have to be done when the customer demanded them during the week. So, yeah, look, there might be the occasional, inconvenience, if you like, of some sort of collaboration being needed at a weird time of the week. But I think that overall, the benefit of a sort of work when you want concept, I think, would outweigh some of those slight tensions you might have with it, if you've got people that might be working to slightly different schedules. So I still think the bulk of your collaboration's or your collaboration overlap's going to be, but that's all going back to what we spoke about in other sessions about, having an office v home day or days as working around your collaboration. And again, if you've got a good collaboration plan, or and you're having your one-on-one meetings, your team meetings, well, theoretically, most of your collaboration should already be done. I mean, yes, there will be the things that you'll have to call, discuss, that sort of stuff, sure. But ultimately, having good productive meetings and good productive collaboration when it's scheduled is going to deal with a lot of these sort of things that you've alluded to.
If you're watching this video, I'm going to have a guess that it's because your business is facing some kind of HR or workplace relations challenge. Well, I've got some good news. You're exactly the type of business that we created our free online support membership for. And it provides you with a high-level HR and workplace relations advice when you need it, as well as a whole heap of other benefits.
To learn more about what's included with free online support and to apply for membership, please visit ondemandhr.com.au/online.